Hello and welcome to the Snickerdoodle Knits YouTube channel. I am Jessica, the knitter and designer behind Snickerdoodle Knits. In this video, we are going to be talking all about the On the Road Again collection. It's a knitting pattern collection that includes a hat and a cowl. So it's probably pretty obvious, but this was inspired by the road that we drive on. So that's just this motif here. Is supposed to be the outer line, the inner line of the road with a dashed line in between that of course separates the lanes. So I first had this idea when my husband and I were driving across the country. We were moving from Wyoming, where we had gone to college, to North Carolina, which is where we now live. And so of course we had over 24 hours of driving time in the car, and I had just started designing knitting patterns. So I had this idea to use the road as a motif, and I'm quite pleased with it. But the other half of this story is that this pattern is really about the people who spend a lot of time on the road or in the air traveling, or just really don't feel settled in one place, don't feel like they belong there. So last year, this is March of 2021, in November of 2020, I released my home series of patterns, which is My Forever Home, A New Home, and Next Door Neighbors. So that is all based around having a place that feels like home, that's comfortable, you feel like you belong, you feel like you have a lot of connections there. So this collection is a sequel to the home series because the home series just didn't feel like it told the whole story. There was a missing part that was for the people that really don't feel like they have a home, or they don't have a home, whether they're homeless or just like I mentioned before, traveling a lot. Even like I went through a phase in my life where it felt like I just didn't belong anywhere. It was my college years, and so it just felt like everybody knew that it was just a transitional phase, and I felt like I couldn't really fit in anywhere. Like I didn't belong anywhere because nobody was really making really deep connections, and I didn't like that feeling at all. And so that's a big reason why I created the home series after we moved here, and it felt like we finally were settled somewhere. And it was, even though I want to say like I have deep connections with a lot of people here, it finally felt like we had somewhere that was home, where we could just kind of like sit down and breathe and enjoy what was around us. So this collection is On the Road Again, which is dedicated to those people who are in a phase where they don't feel like they fit in, they don't feel like they belong, they don't feel settled with where they are, and they don't feel like they really have those roots. So if that is you, totally feel you, and this is for you. Alright, now let's get into the patterns. The first pattern released is the On the Road Again hat. And so I mentioned the motif a bit earlier. It's just a simple motif that uses color work to create. And so as you can see, most of it is you're just working one color at a time. And then there are just a few rows where you work a simple two-stranded color work pattern. And I do have tutorial linked for switching colors and a little bit on how to do this stranded color work. Tutorials are linked within the pattern itself. So it's really quite simple. Most of it's just knitting. Of course, you have the ribbing with some purling and then the decreases at the top. The hat pattern includes child size, teen size, and then 3 adult sizes. And then there's also optional instructions on how to make your hat slouchy. So this is just the regular fit, and then you can do another repeat here to add additional height to make it slouchy. So that's the hat. And then the cowl is very much the same. So there's ribbing, there's the body simple color work, and then there's one round of decreases. So if you can tell, this top is narrower than the bottom. And I like that fit for my cowls just because then the bottom lays out a little bit wider than the top. So then you can see your cowl better, and I find that it fits a little bit nicer and it lays a little bit nicer. And then the ribbing at the top. So the motif is simple. It's a lot of fun to work. It's not completely mindless. It's not like just working stockinette, but it's not very consuming for brain power. So I had a lot of fun working up these samples just because it's quick to knit through. It's DK weight, which makes it even quicker, and it's easy to memorize what you need to do. So it's easy to even just take a look at the pattern. Once you get in your head what this repeat is, you don't even really need the pattern to work from. So until you get back to the ribbing and stuff. So then for the cowl, this includes a child size and 3 adult sizes. So this is the adult small size. And then this is a modified version that I created to use up the last of my yarn. And a cast on for the adult medium size. I was going to knit the length of the large because I thought I had enough yarn, but I did not. So the decrease is what would have been used for the large length, I believe. And then I just basically finished until as far as I could go. So the ribbing isn't as long as it should be for the medium size. And so as you can see, it's easy to change colors, can really play with how your projects look that way. The set was also designed so you could use just 2 skeins of DK weight, your main color and your contrasting color, for both your hat and your cowl. So you don't use very much of the contrasting color in each one. So if you just flip which is your main color and which is your contrasting color between projects, then it works really well for getting a hat and a cowl. And of course, if you're working the smaller sizes, you can get another project too. It's also a really fun project for putting together contrasting colors. So if you want to see more projects, check out the Ravelry page, pattern page, and there's projects linked. I'll talk more about how to access the links for everything, but on that Ravelry page there's the linked projects, and you can see like what the test knitters used. But the main thing is just that it's high contrast, so you can really see that, see that design, unless you want it to be more subtle, and then you make a lot softer contrast. But it's really a fun opportunity for that. And then this is what the decreases look like. You know, that's something we like to see often for our hats. All right, what else do we have here? Put these on. So again, this is the adult small size. I do still have bobby pins in my hair, but that's that look. And then this is also the adult small. And of course, when you go onto the project pages, you will see all of the photos for all of this as well. So if you're looking for something a bit cozier around your neck, you're an adult, I definitely recommend the small. And the other thing is it's easy if you want to say do tight cozy but you want it longer, you can easily just work the repeats longer here. And same with any of them. The main thing is just cast on for the width that you want and then just work the length that you want. All right, let's see here. So we've talked about sizes. Oh, yarn. Okay, so I love this yarn. I mentioned before it's a DK weight. This is from Birch Hollow Fibers, and the base is Phyllis DK, and it's so squishy and so cozy. I'm mildly obsessed with DK weight right now because it is so cozy. I love wearing it, and it's so quick to knit up compared to like fingering weight or lace weight or something like that. So the colors that I use, this is Baby Ann is the blue, and Sword Steel is the gray color. And then if you're watching this at the time of the pattern release, Robin of Birch Hollow Fibers has also put together a couple other yarn combinations. And as always, I have a yarn recommendation blog post. So when we talk about links later on the main project page, you will see the links to that blog post. And so I've pulled a couple of combinations from her yarn that I like, but also included alternative yarn recommendations. So that's less expensive or lower price point yarns from like bigger box stores like Michael's, LoveCrafts, different, especially ones that are online. So that gives you yarn options both in colors and in brand. And then the pattern, both patterns will be available individually, so you can buy the hat pattern or you can buy the cowl pattern, but they're also put together as a collection, and so when you purchase the collection, you automatically receive 15% off the pattern totals. So when you see the collection price, that's just already 15% off of the combined price of the cowl and the hat pattern. And the collection is available currently available on Payhip and Ravelry. And the individual patterns are available on Ravelry, Payhip, and LoveCrafts. LoveCrafts, I'm not able to upload 2 patterns to one listing, so that's why the collection isn't available there. In the near future, I'm hoping that everything will also be available on my website. But all of that said, you only have to go to one link to find everything you're looking for. So there is a link down in the description that goes to my website, and that is the pattern information page. On that page, I have the links to everywhere that the pattern is available for purchase. So I'll have the Ravelry, LoveCrafts, and Payhip links there. On that page, I have all of the information about what the knit is like, how much yarn you'll need, and then I have the link there in the yarn section that I was talking about for that yarn recommendations blog post. So that link is on that page. And then at the bottom of the page, there's testimonials from test knitters, and then that page also includes like the backstory, like what I shared about the story behind the design. But really all of the information you need, you can find on that pattern information page on my website. So that is the link that is in the description down below. Now, I think that is everything. So we have, I mentioned the linked video tutorials inside of the pattern. I also have linked video tutorial for any of the techniques that might be new to you, so any of the stitches, as well as I had mentioned the color work. And then I also have the patterns are written up in both written and charted instructions, so you will receive one PDF for the hat, one PDF for the cowl, and inside of that PDF it has both the written and the charted instructions. So the first 2 pages of the pattern are general information about the pattern, abbreviations, yarn requirements, all of that kind of general information. And then the 3rd page of the pattern starts the written instructions. And so then we have the written instructions, and then the charted instructions are separate. So after the written instructions are the charted instructions. And the charted instructions include all of the specific written instructions that are required to work the charted instructions. So the reason for that is then if you like the written instructions, you can just print the written instructions. If you like the charted instructions, you can just print the charted instructions. So it saves you ink and paper and confusion. So yes, there's written and charted instructions in there. And the yarn recommendation blog post that I had mentioned before, that is also linked within the pattern. So I think that is everything about the collection. I hope you found this video helpful, informative, answered any questions that you have. If you still have questions, go ahead and leave those down below. I'm more than happy to answer those. And again, to find all of the information on the pattern and to purchase the pattern, go ahead and just click that link in the description down below. It will take you to the pattern information page for everything that you need. So I hope you enjoy knitting this pattern, and I look forward to seeing you around. Happy knitting!